I was about to tell my wife that I have terminal cancer and only months to live, but before I could speak, she broke down crying and confessed she's been having an affair and is pregnant with her coworker's baby. Last week, I received news that has completely turned my world upside down. All the medical tests I underwent have confirmed the worst. I have stage 4 lung cancer. Hearing those words was nerve-wracking. Since that moment, I've felt utterly shattered. The tears haven't stopped, and I feel powerless. I don't want to die. I'm not ready. There's so much I still want to do, so much I still want to say. But it feels like the universe has made up its mind, and I am being dragged along helplessly. The doctors have told me I only have a few months left to live, and those words keep echoing in my head, over and over, like a cruel fate I can't escape. Until now, I had kept this diagnosis to myself. Even though I was drowning in fear and sadness, I hadn't told my wife yet. I didn't want to worry her unnecessarily, not until I had clear answers. But once the final test results came in, there was no escaping it anymore. I did try to go to a few other doctors for more suggestions, but they all told me the same thing. In the end, I knew I had to tell my wife and prepare her for the worst. How do you tell your life partner, the love of your life, that you are going to be gone soon? How do you prepare yourself to have that talk? This week, after days of battling with my own nerves, I finally found the courage to have the conversation I had been dreading. I rehearsed it in my head countless times, trying to figure out the right words, but no matter how I said it, it always felt wrong. When the moment came, I sat her down and told her we needed to talk. As soon as she looked at me, I could see the concern in her eyes. My face must have been pale and drawn because she asked me right away if something was wrong. I didn't know how to ease into it, so I just said the truth. Yes. I have found out something and now everything is wrong. As I sat there, gathering every ounce of strength I had to tell my wife about my diagnosis, something unexpected happened. She started to cry. Her tears caught me off guard. I hadn't even begun to tell her the news yet, so I couldn't understand why she was so upset. Confused, I looked at her, searching for some kind of explanation. That's when she said something that completely threw me off balance. She began to stammer through her tears, saying how she knew exactly what I was about to say. I froze, trying to piece together her words. How could she possibly know? I hadn't told anyone about the tests, the results, or what I was going through. I asked her, still perplexed, "What are you talking about?" She took a shaky breath and then dropped a bombshell I never saw coming. "You found out about my affair, didn't you? That's what you want to talk about, right?" Her words hit me like a freight train. An affair? My wife was having an affair? For a moment, I couldn't even process it. I just sat there, stunned into silence, my mind scrambling to make sense of what I'd just heard. My heart, already fragile from the weight of my diagnosis, felt like it had been shattered into a million pieces. My wife, still crying, began to explain herself. She admitted that she'd been struggling for weeks to find the courage to tell me the truth. As the reality of her confession sank in, I finally managed to ask her, "Who is it? Who's the guy?" Through her tears, she confessed that it was her new co-worker, the one who had joined her office just a few months ago. She said that from the moment they met, there had been an undeniable attraction between them. At first, they both tried to ignore it, knowing they were both married, but 3 months ago, during a business trip, everything changed. They got drunk one night, and slept together. Even though they both felt guilty about it, that night marked the beginning of an affair that had been ongoing ever since. My wife told me she felt terrible for what she had done, for betraying me, but she insisted that this wasn't just a meaningless fling. She claimed that she and her coworker were in love. Love? Hearing her say those words felt like a knife twisting in my chest. How could she be in love with this guy? All this time I thought she and I belonged together. I thought she was my soulmate, and now I had found out that she was nothing more than a cheater. My whole world, which was already crumbling, now felt like it had been completely destroyed. I had come into this conversation prepared to tell my wife about my terminal cancer, the thing that is killing me slowly from the inside. Instead, here she was, casually dropping this earth-shattering revelation that she had been having an affair and was in love with this other guy. How could this even be real? How could the universe be this cruel? Before I could even process the betrayal, my wife continued to say how last week, she had missed her period and decided to take a pregnancy test. The result was positive and she was pregnant. My stomach churned as the implications of her words hit me. Since she and I had not been intimate in months, it was obvious, painfully, undeniably obvious, that the child she was carrying belonged to her affair partner. I felt like I was drowning, unable to catch my breath. I asked her just in case, and she nodded her head in confirmation. She began to tell me again how sorry she was for what she had done and how she wished she had gotten pregnant with me instead of him, but now that she was pregnant anyways, she had come to accept the situation. She didn't stop there. She actually started gushing about how this pregnancy was like a miracle to her since it happened out of the blue and it felt like God's plan. I could feel my heart breaking even further as she said those words. A miracle? For her? Last year, she and I had tried so hard to get pregnant. We'd gone through so much, only to finally give up and decide to leave it to chance as it was taking a toll on our mental health. After that, my wife, instead of getting intimate with me, had gone around sleeping with someone else. I had been completely blind to this. All this while I thought we both were fine, when in reality, she just wanted to replace me and get pregnant with someone else. Now, here she was, pregnant not with my child, but with the child of the man she had been sleeping with behind my back. I felt like throwing up. Every word she said made the pain sharper and the betrayal deeper. My wife kept telling me how much she regretted that I had to find out this way. She kept saying that she had wanted to confess this for a while but didn't have the guts to do so. At the same time, she also made it clear that she didn't regret anything because she had finally met her soulmate in this guy. She told me that she didn't feel like she had done anything wrong and that maybe this was the universe's plan all along. She assured me that with time, I would heal from this heartbreak and maybe even find my own soulmate someday. I couldn't help but start laughing out loud at that point. Find my own soulmate? How absurd. I wish I could. However, I didn't even have the luxury of time to consider such a thing. My days were numbered, my life was slipping away faster than I could process this nightmare. My wife, the one person I thought I could always rely on, had cheated on me and was now leaving me on my own. This is why I decided right then and there that my wife did not deserve to know about my diagnosis. I mean, what was the point anyways? She was already thinking about building a new life with someone else, carrying his child, and dreaming of a future with her so-called soulmate. What was the point of me even telling her now about my diagnosis? I didn't want her pity. I didn't want to guilt her into staying with me. Even though I am dying, I still want to die with my dignity. So, I simply told her that since she was clear about her feelings for her affair partner and the direction her life was heading, there was no point in us staying married. She nodded in agreement and, almost casually, volunteered to move out since the house was mine. Since that conversation, my wife has been living in the guest room and packing up her belongings bit by bit to move out. She still has no idea about my cancer or how rapidly my health is declining. She hasn't noticed the weight I've lost, the way my body is weakening, or the dark circles under my eyes from nights spent crying alone in the bed we used to share. At night, I lie awake, my mind racing with thoughts of her and the man she left me for. I've become obsessed, stalking him on social media, trying to piece together who he is and why she threw away 8 years of our marriage for him. I found out that he's married to a gorgeous woman. I found his wife online, and she's 5 months pregnant. The irony isn't lost on me. His wife is also carrying his child, likely blissfully unaware that her husband is about to upend her life, just as my wife did mine. My heart aches for his wife even though I don't know her. She probably has no idea what's coming. I know all too well what it feels like to be blindsided, to have your world collapse without warning. My wife only confessed her affair to me because she mistakenly thought I already knew. What if his wife never gets that confession? What if she never finds out the truth about the man she's building a family with? What if he leaves her without an explanation? I can't decide what to do. Part of me wants to tell his wife everything I know, to spare her from the pain of discovering it too late, like I did. But another part of me wonders if it's even my place to intervene. Maybe I am a bit too emotional about this, so I can't make up my mind. So, Reddit Ida, if I reach out to his wife and tell her everything that I know? Should I at least give her a heads up, or is that cruel? Update 1. Thank you, everyone, for your kind words, support, and advice. I never imagined that a group of strangers on the internet could offer me more compassion and understanding than my own wife. Your messages have meant a lot to me during this unbearable time. I still have a long road ahead. I need to gather my strength and share this heartbreaking news with my parents and other family members. But before I can even think about that, my priority is ending my marriage first. I need to divorce my wife and be done with to her. At first, when all of this came crashing down, I felt nothing but pity for myself. I thought about how cruel and unfair life has been, how everything I thought I could rely on was crumbling. But now, that pity has turned into disgust. I am disgusted by what my wife has done, by her betrayal, and by how casually she shattered everything we built together. I have given her all my time, my energy, my love, and she repaid me in the worst way possible. It feels like she stomped on my heart without a second thought. Yes, I wish things were different. I wish she weren't the kind of person who could hurt me like this. I wish she wasn't a cheater who prioritized her own selfish desires over our marriage, over me. But the harsh reality is that she is, and I have no desire to hold on to her anymore. I don't want her in my life, not as my wife and not as someone I trust. She is better off with this other man she claims to love so much. Let them be together if that's what she wants. As much as it hurts, I know I deserve better than someone who could betray me so cruelly. There's a bitter silver lining in all of this. If she hadn't confessed to her affair, I would have gone to my grave thinking she was someone I could trust, someone who deserved my love and everything I've worked for. I would have left all my assets to her, thinking I was taking care of her even after I was gone. But now I know the truth, and because of that, I can make sure she doesn't get to benefit from my hard work while sharing it with her affair partner. I will divorce her, and I will ensure she gets nothing from me. That's the least I owe to myself after everything she has done. Fortunately, the process of divorcing her should be straightforward. We have a clear-cut prenup agreement, and there are no children between us. The mediator should be able to handle this quickly. Considering she's pregnant with another man's child and has already told me she doesn't want to stay in this marriage, I doubt she'll try to drag out the proceedings. That's perfect for me. I want this chapter of my life closed as soon as possible. As for her affair partner, I've made up my mind. That guy's wife deserves to know the truth about what her husband has been doing behind her back. She's about to become a single mother, and I can only imagine how devastating this news will be for her. I feel terrible for her because she didn't ask for this, just like I didn't. But she deserves honesty, even if it's painful. I'll tell her everything so she can decide what to do with her life, just as I'm deciding what to do with mine. Update 2. Thank you to everyone who keeps checking in on me every day in my DMs. I am truly grateful. I do feel a whole lot better now that I have been reading all your comments and messages. Anyways, I decided to reach out to the guy's wife on Facebook. I felt like it was the right thing to do, so I sent her a direct message telling her everything about the affair, the pregnancy, and how long this betrayal had been going on behind both of our backs. I wasn't sure what kind of reaction to expect. I knew it would be an incredibly sensitive and shocking thing to drop on someone, especially a stranger, and I wasn't prepared for how she would respond. She ended up leaving me on read, which honestly makes sense. I can only imagine how shocked and overwhelmed she must have been by everything I had shared. It's a lot to process, especially when you're suddenly faced with the painful truth about something so personal and hurtful about your own partner. A few hours later, my phone rang, and it was my ex-wife. The moment I picked up, she started screaming at me. She was furious and accused me of interfering in her affair partner's marriage. According to her, I had no right to contact his wife. She went on to tell me that the guy had supposedly planned to leave his wife, but only after the baby was born. Now, because I had exposed their affair, his wife had kicked him out of their home, and his plans had been ruined. Her tone was so full of entitlement, as if I had done something wrong by bringing the truth to light. She kept ranting about how I should have just kept my mouth shut and let them handle things on their own terms. She told me that it was not my place to tell that woman anything. But honestly, I was glad I exposed them this way. My wife and that guy had cheated on us, broke our trust, and sneaked behind us. Now, she and that guy thought I should have not warned his wife? I have zero regrets about exposing them. If anything, they deserve it. Later that night, the man's wife finally responded to my message. She thanked me for telling her the truth, and I could tell she was deeply hurt but also appreciative that I had reached out to her. She told me about how she regretted that she was now pregnant with his baby and how she had never even wanted to become a mother in the first place, but that the guy had basically forced her to keep the baby. She wrote how after getting pregnant, she started gaining weight, and this is when her husband would constantly tell her how he was always turned off by her. I guess this must have been when he met my wife and started sleeping with her. She also wrote how she wished she had known about this affair sooner to be better prepared, but was still grateful that I had told everything. I felt so bad for her and wished her the best. I can only hope she takes her husband to the cleaners during their divorce. He deserves to lose everything for what he's done to her, just like my ex-wife deserves to face the consequences of her actions. I hope that woman gets a solid alimony settlement and uses it to rebuild her life without that cheating scumbag holding her back. It feels good to know I did the right thing, even if my ex-wife thinks otherwise. They made their bed, and now they have to lie in it. Update 3, it's been 2 months since my last update, and so much has happened since then. My ex-wife and I are now officially divorced. Just as I had suspected, she pushed for the process to be as quick and straightforward as possible. It was painfully obvious that her only concern was to end our marriage so she could jump right into her new life with the man she betrayed me for. She barely even looked at me during the proceedings and never asked me for a penny. In the days following the divorce, I've already spoken with a lawyer and started working on my will. My parents and my sister will inherit everything that's in my name. They've always stood by me, through everything, and this is the least I can do to thank them for their unwavering love and support. I would also like to thank all of you kind strangers who've been reaching out to me in my DMs and offering your support. Even though I can't respond to everyone individually, I want you to know that I see each of your messages, and your words truly warm my heart. You all have shown me more kindness than I've received from my own wife, and for that, I'm deeply grateful. It's amazing how the kindness of strangers can make such a difference during tough times. Right now, I'm preparing myself for even more difficult conversations ahead. I still need to break the news about my illness to my parents and other family members. As much as I'm still sad about everything I'm going through, I've started to accept that this is something I have to face. I wish I had more time to make things right and experience more of life, but I can't change what's happening. It is what it is, and I'm trying to come to terms with that. If there's one thing I hope people can take away from my experience, it's this: please, don't take your health for granted. Go for regular checkups, no matter how busy or healthy you feel. Catching things early can make all the difference, and I hope none of you ever have to face what I'm going through. Update 4, this week, I finally gathered the courage to sit down with my family and share the news about my diagnosis. As I've mentioned before, I was holding off until my divorce was finalized because I didn't want to add more stress or confusion to an already tough situation. Now that everything with the divorce is settled, I felt it was the right time to be honest with everyone about my cancer. To put it simply, my parents, other relatives, and close friends are heartbroken after I told them. They are shocked and deeply saddened because they know I am still struggling with the pain of my ex's affair and the divorce. Hearing about my cancer is like another heavy blow they didn't see coming. Since then, my relatives have been visiting me often, whenever they can, so they can spend more time with me. All of them are doing their best to support me during this incredibly challenging time. Even my ex-wife's family has reached out to me, which I wasn't expecting. They hadn't really been in touch during the divorce, but once they found out about my cancer, I am guessing through other people, things changed. My ex-mother-in-law was deeply emotional when she called me. She informed me how her daughter has now moved in with her affair partner just a month after our divorce. Apparently, his wife has also kicked the guy out. Anyways, my ex-Mill was crying and apologizing for how badly her daughter has treated me, expressing how disgusted she and her husband are by the way my ex left me. She told me how guilty she and her husband felt about what my ex-wife had done to me, but at the time they didn't have the courage to ask for my forgiveness. While it was a bittersweet moment because, on the one hand, I felt supported, but on the other hand, it's hard to hear that kind of apology after everything that's happened. I wish they had reached out to me and told me all this during our divorce rather than right now, when they have found out that I am dying. My in-laws have started sending me a care package every other day, which I guess is a nice gesture, though it doesn't undo the past. Of course, after my in-laws found out, it didn't take long for my ex-wife to hear about it. She tried calling me, but I didn't answer. Honestly, I don't want to talk to her anymore. There's nothing left to say. I'm sure she's feeling guilty, and I know she'll try to put that guilt onto me, but I just don't want to engage in that. Eventually, She left me a voicemail where she said she was sorry for what I'm going through, and she feels bad that she left me alone while I was dying. She then went on to say that if she had known about my diagnosis, she never would have moved on from our marriage. It almost felt like she was blaming me for not telling her about my cancer sooner. She mentioned how she's been getting more and more criticism from everyone for leaving me, since I am a dying man, and implied that it was somehow my fault for not sharing that information with her sooner and how I shouldn't have thrown her under the bus without at least a heads up. Throughout her message, she hasn't even once apologized or even asked how I was doing. That woman is a narcissist through and through. I didn't even bother replying to her anything, and I simply blocked her after that. At this point, my ex can think whatever she wants. I don't owe her any explanations or anything else. This whole situation has been exhausting, and I've decided I need to focus on myself now. This might be my last update. I hope you all have a great rest of the year and that things are brighter for everyone. Thanks for being here and for your support. Update 5. I really thought that I wouldn't have anything else to update, but turns out that my ex-wife just can't leave me alone even though I am literally dying. After I blocked her yesterday, I actually had a moment of peace. But that little bit of calm didn't last. Today, she showed up at my house out of the blue, completely uninvited. She didn't just stop by quietly either, no, she was ringing my doorbell over and over again, like she was trying to wear it out. I was so drained, I could barely lift my head off the pillow. But her relentless doorbell marathon made it impossible to just stay in bed and ignore her. So, I dragged myself to the door, my patience hanging by a thread, and I opened it just to tell her off. I yelled at her, told her to leave me the hell alone. But instead of backing off, she yelled right back, saying she'd come over because she was worried something had happened to me. According to her, she was there to make sure I was still alive since I hadn't responded to her messages. I couldn't help but scoff like, "Are you kidding me?" I told her straight up that whether I was alive or not was none of her business anymore. I even explained the reason she hadn't heard from me. I had blocked her. She looked genuinely shocked, like the idea of me blocking her was the most outrageous thing she'd ever heard. Then she started demanding to know how I could possibly do that to her, as if I owed her some kind of explanation for protecting my own peace. She then launched into this full-on rant about how she's been struggling mentally ever since she found out about my diagnosis. She said she hasn't been able to sleep peacefully because she's been racked with guilt for leaving me on my own. Then, of course, she made it all about her, saying how her friends and family were blaming her for the situation. Apparently, they've been calling her out, saying that on top of being a cheater, she's now the woman who abandoned a dying man. And somehow, in her mind, all of this was my fault. She actually had the audacity to ask if I would perhaps talk to her parents and some of her friends just to clear things up. She wanted me to tell them that I didn't want to stay in the marriage either, so the divorce wasn't entirely her fault. Can you believe that? She expected me, the person she betrayed and left behind, to go out of my way to make her life easier. I just stared at her, completely dumbfounded. I straight up asked her if she'd lost her mind. Like, how could she even think I'd be willing to do something so ridiculous? I told her people could believe whatever they wanted about her, and honestly, they weren't wrong. She cheated, she left, and now she was facing the consequences of her own choices. That wasn't my problem anymore. But she didn't give up. She kept pleading and arguing, desperate for me to agree to her request. That's when I finally snapped. I told her that if she didn't leave my property immediately, I was going to call the cops. I was done with her nonsense. I even went so far as to threaten her with a social media post, saying I'd expose how she was harassing me at my own home for no reason. That finally shut her up. She didn't say another word after that and thankfully left without causing any more of a scene. It was such a relief to see her go, but honestly, I was completely drained after the whole ordeal. I don't know how she even has the nerve to act like this, but at least now she knows I'm not going to put up with it.